Alright, so hi, this is Jake. We're going to do Blitztactics today. Wonderful site, very similar to Puzzle Rush, but the format is you get 3 minutes instead of 5, but when you get a streak of problems right, streak of moves right, you get bonus time, and when you get a move wrong, it's not 3 strikes and you're out. Instead, you get 30 seconds docked each time. So once you make your first move, the position starts here. Knight e8 forks the queen and king, so I'm going to play that. Now knight h6, again, forks the king and queen. I notice they often give a bunch of problems of a similar type in a row. Bishop f6 removes the defender of queen h7 mate, so they got rid of the knight but now lose their queen. d6 traps the bishop. I'd like to remove the defender of the queen because it's kind of loose, so rook d8, queen c2. This bishop looks loose, so queen a4 check. The bishop's pinned to the rook on the back, so I can just take. Now I have to play king f8 to keep my rook defended, and if they took the bishop, I had rook d8, and I'm hitting d1. Knight d4 looks like it takes everything. Yeah, we get the queen. de4, if they take back, I take on g5. If they took on e7, my queen takes back and defends. Excuse me. Knight e4 check, and queen b2 is mate. This is a fun pattern. I got this one in a real game recently. If the knight moves, the queen's hit, so I'm very tempted to move the knight. I think I'll take here. Yeah, the queen didn't have a square. I assume I can play queen a1 and take on b2, and now it feels like there should be a good finish. Could take on c3. Yeah. Alright, I want to play rook check first so that the rook controls the queening square. And if I move the pawn first, their king can come over faster. Knight g5 is a fork. I guess here my rook's hit, so I need to make checks. Yeah, this is mate. Bishop f3 skewers the queen to the rook. The king's very out in the open and has no squares, so bishop e3. I guess queen e4 check? No. Yeah. Yeah, because I hit the bishop, and if they blocked with the bishop, I take on b7, I think. Rook f7, yeah, because I get the bishop at the end. I can take on f3 and then take on e4. My queen was hit, so I had to take with the queen. c3 is hanging. Do I want to play bishop a3 first? Yes, I do. Because now I'm mate on b2. What gives them the fewest checks? Guess here, maybe? Yeah. I like how it gives almost sometimes when you make a move that's clearly good enough, but isn't the move it wants, rather than just penalizing you for the full you got this wrong type result. Does rook c6 trap the queen? No, because d5 would be loose. How do we trap the queen? Huh. I want to play knight c5. I feel dc5, d4, and otherwise their queen has to run. Nope. Alright, I'm not seeing this one. Oh no, rook c6, because when they take on d5, of course they're on the line with my bishop, and I can just move my rook away. Knight d3, because b2 gets a1 as well. Bishop f2 is a discovery. So here it feels like I just want to sneak in with the queen, because if I get to e1, maybe queen e5, because their only way to block, cover that is knight f3, and I mate on e2, and I'm map slipped. Alright, 26. Not a great score. Let's try to do better than that. Here, bishop a3 wins the bishop. d6. This is Legal's mate, I believe it is pronounced, but I would say legal, so knight e7 forks king and queen. Queen h6 is a cute mate. Knight g7, another king and queen fork. Knight d6, and the king doesn't matter, just give up the queen. Okay, knight e3 grabs the rook, and I can stop the queening. d3 is a discovered check. I can take the bishop. Bishop e4 skewers the rook. We're trying to go a bit faster this time. I kind of want to play e5. I'm not seeing this one as quickly. Knight h5, does the queen have squares? No. Knight d3 followed by bishop e5. Again, usually you just want to look at checks and captures. Fe6 and I open up on f4. Right, I can take this king or rook. If I take king, they don't have checks, so I think I want to take that way. Does f4 trap the knight? Looks like it. Queen a4 check, grabs d4. It could stop with knight c6, but then I'd have queen takes g4 because the bishop was awkwardly placed. Does c5 trap the queen? I don't think so. But queen b2, bishop, yeah, c3 after. Yep, okay. Rook a7's cute. It's the kind of standard of king-queen skewer, except the bishop can take, but then the queen will be undefended. That was a neat one. I don't think I've seen that before. Knight f5, because then knight d5 forks again. The king has very few squares. I think knight h5 or g5. Yeah. Maybe knight f5, because I threaten mate and the pawn's pinned to the queen. Yeah, because I was going to take the queen at the end. Ooh, we want to back rank here. So queen a1, and then the rook's undefended. Queen e5 is very tempting, hitting the knight and the pawn on b2. Yeah. Okay. I guess I'll interpose, taking on e2, and then take on e6. The knight has no squares. Ooh, tricky, but... I want knight e5. Bishop e6, does the queen not have squares? Queen does no squares, that's a strange one. I can take on e1 before taking the queen, desperado. If I take on f3 and then take on e1, yeah. Knight e7, because if the rook takes, then the queen's hanging. If the rook doesn't take, I just take the queen with the knight. I think I have to take, and just queen g2. Okay. I like that there are some kind of defensive type tactics. Queen h4, the king can't escape. Bishop h6, and then bishop f8 covers g7. I can just take f8, right? And mate. I don't have queen g7, but I can do another desperado. Get rid of the queen before taking theirs. Right, so if I take and then play queen a4, I hit the rook and bishop at the same time. So just forks, captures, you know, typical tactics. Rook e8 does not remove the defender of the queen because the knight defends it too. So maybe knight takes first, because if they trade queens, I defend the knight. Yeah. I think I can take that, and then trade queens. This looks like the bishop's a little loose. So if I play knight e4, yeah. This doesn't feel like the kind of position I'd have a tactic, but I guess queen takes and knight b4 hits the bishop and c2. They could play bishop b3, but my other knight can trade it off. Alright, I'll take the queen and then take the rook. Seems straightforward. Queen h4 check, forces king and rook. I think I should take the rook. And now it's going to ask me to find the most precise mate, which looks like this. I want to play knight h3, but I don't think it does much. So let's play rook d2, hit c2 and f2. Yeah. Maybe rook e6. Yeah, the queen can't defend the bishop. Rook f8 removes the defender with the queen. Oh, the knight defends the queen. Okay, totally blind. Then in that case, queen e7 looks very good. Bishop d7 stops the king from being able to escape, and now g4's mate. Mate. I ran out of time, but 45, pretty decent score, especially while trying to talk a bit during it. I'm pleased with that. Why am I not seeing this one, though? What could it be? This knight on d5 is clearly the vulnerable piece. So if I move this knight somewhere. So if I played knight b5, knight takes c3, queen d8's not getting me anywhere. All right, knight d5, queen d5. I'm just not seeing this one. There's also stuff where after I take the knight and the queen takes back, their bishop on c8's undefended, but I do not see a way to exploit that. Huh. Oh, bishop b5 check, of course. Because if they block on d7, I can take on d5. If they block on c6, I can just take it. So they have to play king f8, which, might not qualify as a tactic, but that seems a pretty good thing to achieve. Maybe there's more than that. I'm not seeing it right now. Bishop b5 looks pretty strong. All right, well, that's Blitztactics. Good site. Check it out. Good tactics practice.